First off, I've made this very clear. Fail steroid tests or anything, you're out.
You're out.
That's if
I love it.
You're out.
I love it.
You fail any steroid test, you're out, right? No, I mean Barry Bonds is out.
Yeah,
He's not in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Listen.
Mark McGuire's not in the Hall of Fame. Dude's had 75 home runs in one season. Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
Steroid test, you're out. That's the way a lot of sports have done it. But I say in no particular order: Demetrius Johnson, George St. Pierre, Habib Nurmagomedov, who goes to 28-0. Myself's in there, and honestly, man, you know, when you start doing that, I think you gotta. I mean, I think
how are you forgetting the greatest of all time?
I said George St. Pierre.
Did you forget George? Oh, did you say
George? I said George.
My bad.
Right away. But no, I think honestly, man, you start weighing accomplishments, and you got to start thinking in time. You know, when you start going 5, 6, Conor McGregor's in there. Dude won 2 titles. I know he didn't defend anything, but he won 2 championships. And
okay, so the 5 that you came up with were Habib, Conor, George,
Habib, George, DJ, myself,
and Demetrius.
Probably McGregor, or he won 2 belts. You know, Henry
Cejudo.
Number 1? Henry Cejudo's in there too. So like 5, 6. Henry Cejudo won 2 belts. Like,
who's number 1 in your mind?
The greatest fighter of all time. I think George St. Pierre. Honestly, if I got to be honest, I think George St. Pierre. I think when George St. Pierre won that fight against Michael Bisping at 185 and became a champion in 2 weights with all he had done before, I think it's George. And
walked away as 170 champ, walked away at 185.
There's no slight on
his 2 losses.
I'm not trying to slight Anderson.
You have to be 100% clean, no infractions on your resume, no PED failures, any of that. It's George St. Pierre, and then it's you. I'm sorry. Like, I love DJ, but let's look at the strength of schedule here. Let's look at the fact that you went up to heavyweight when he went up to 135 and fought Dominic.
He got beat. Yeah, I know.
Fighters should give you more respect, to be honest.
I think a lot.
And it's not just Conor's list. I notice it from all the fighters. They don't mention you enough. You went up there. You were undefeated as a heavyweight. You had fights. It wasn't. I think people forget that before the Stipe fight, International Fight Week, that you had a few fights in the UFC, let alone Strikeforce as a heavyweight. Yeah. Frank Mir, Roy Nelson. Those guys were top contenders.
They were both in the top 5 when I fought them.
Yeah.
Right? So my title shot was legitimate, I felt. But hey, look, man, you can't change the way people see things. But I think if people look at everything, all things considered, you know, it'll be fine. I mean, I'm a guy that's main evented 8 UFCs. I've sold over 4 million pay-per-views. I saw something somewhere, you know, like it's I've done some good things in this sport. And I think as time goes, people will respect that more.
Both guys now are champions of Twitter, typing stuff up on Twitter. That's what both guys are champions of, talking on Twitter. In the history, who has ever said no to a title shot? I'm that only guy. I'm that boogeyman that these guys are saying no to a title shot for. And they better remain quiet, because we've seen with Jorge Masvidal, you've had the opportunity. April 18th, you had the opportunity. You said no. May 9th, you had the opportunity. You said no. June, you said no. Now July, you want to fight Nate, a fight that wasn't competitive. You know, and Conor, you said you want to be the king of the 170 division. Now you're quiet. So you know what? Just remain quiet. That's what I expect. Remain quiet, both of you guys. Remain quiet, because I've given both of you guys a shot, and none of you guys want to take it. So stay quiet and let the king go on down the street doing his thing. If it's Conor, that's why I said Conor, this would be history. Like, I know a lot of people are trying to kind of get on it and say, oh, Conor doesn't deserve it. Okay, but the next guy that's deserving of the fight would be Leon Edwards. He can't get in the country. So so what? If Conor can make this fight happen, why wouldn't we fight Conor? He just fought at 170. He looked great. Like Cowboy Cerrone beat a lot of guys that were ranked at 170.
Yeah.
You know, he did very well at 170. And Conor went out there and you know, and starched him. I mean, obviously, I like Cowboy. Cowboy's my guy. But Conor went out there and got the job done in less than a minute. So how could people sit here and say that Conor is not deserved? And this is, we're about making history here. He's saying that he's the pound for pound greatest of all time across 3 divisions. This is your chance to prove it. Go out there and win the 3rd belt in the 3rd division. So why wouldn't we make that fight? I'm gonna give him the opportunity. If Conor wants it, let's do it. But Conor's quiet now. Why is Conor quiet? Who says no to a title shot? I've never seen this in history where who says no when the champ says, come and get your title shot? Unless you know you have no chance in hell of winning, that this might change the landscape of your fighting career ever. That's the only chance I can see people saying, you know what? I'm gonna pass on that title shot right there.
Yeah, man. I remember talking to you after you won the belt, and you said one of the best things about holding this belt is that I know that everybody has to come to me now. Everyone's going to want to fight me. And now here we are after one title defense, and you're saying the #1 contenders don't want to fight you. So maybe you were wrong about that one.
I was definitely wrong about that one. You know, I've been the boogeyman of the welterweight division for a long time. You know, if Conor came out, I didn't say anything about Conor. Conor's the one who came out and said, you know, I might go in and take over that 170 division. Well, here's your chance. Here's your chance, Mr. McGregor. You want that 170 division? Here's your title shot. But I haven't heard anything. It's just silence now. All these guys it's silence. What's going on? Why is it silent?
Kumaru, you versus Conor McGregor, who has fought as low as 145 pounds, who's shown that he's had a little bit of problems with a wrestler in Khabib Nurmagomedov. It is a fight between you and Conor a competitive fight? You're an analyst sometimes for ESPN. If you're breaking that fight down, Kumaru versus Conor, how competitive is it?
Yeah, it is a competitive fight. Like a lot of people are kind of going on the side. Oh, you've been at 170 and Conor's fought as low as 145. I wrestled at 145. What are people talking about? I wrestled at 145, and then I grew into a 170-pound fighter. Conor fought at 145, and then he grew into a welterweight fighter. You know, yeah, some people might still say, "Oh, yeah, he's too small," but Masvidal was a middle lightweight fighter. You know, RDA was a lightweight fighter. You know, Nate Diaz was a lightweight fighter. Anthony Pettis was a lightweight fighter and fought as low as 145. Came up to welterweight and knocked out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You know, so I think it's ridiculous for people to just sit here and say, and that's the thing too. A fight is a fight. A lot of the people who are saying, "Oh, this is not competitive," are a lot of just fans standing on the outside. You know, a fight is a fight. Anything can happen in the fight. You know, and Conor's got that beautiful left hand that he feels that he could, you know, deliver and know. He said himself, nobody can take that left hand. You know, I'd like to test that. I'd like to see if he can throw that left hand, if he can make that happen. So, you know, I think it's crazy that people are saying it's not going to be competitive. The real people know how that would go down. The real people know. If you're asking me, am I going to win? Do I think I can win that fight? I can beat anybody on the planet that weighs 170. I can beat anybody on the planet. So, of course, I'm going to say that.
Would you be tempted at all to try to knock him out if the fight did come together?
Absolutely.
Rather than wrestle him, like maybe in the first round, if you felt like I can take this guy down, but would there be part of you that would want to knock him out?
Well, first of all, it's not that I can take this guy down. I can absolutely take him down if I want to. I can take anybody down if I want to. Tyron Woodley is a 2-time Division I All-American wrestler, probably the best credentialed wrestler in the UFC right now, minus Ben Askren on paper. You know, and we saw that win. So it's not based on that. Like, I can absolutely take anybody down that I choose to take down. I will even sign a contract with Conor McGregor. I'll tell him, you know what? We'll put it in the contract. First round or second round, I'm not going to take you down. If you want to do that, we'll put it in the contract. I'm not going to take you down.
Beats by Nevs.
I think I think a lot of people are sleeping on Gilbert with this fight, which is a very big mistake. If Tyron doesn't come correct, it's gonna be a bad night. That's all I'm gonna say. If Tyron doesn't come correct, it's gonna be a really bad night, because Gilbert is just he's starting to hit his stride, and that's a dangerous man that you have in front of you when he's starting to feel it and he's confident in himself, and it's a very, very dangerous man. So I guarantee you, if Tyron doesn't come on his P's and Q's, he's gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Conor fight Kumaru Usman. I don't want to see that fight.
Why not?
He's too big. He's so big.
Usman's
so big. And not only so big, he's so skilled. And tough, man. Like I learned a lot about Kumaru Usman in the Colby Covington fight. Every time people talk to me, and I like Usman, and I would say stuff about him, and they would ask me about him, and I'd say, I love Usman. I think he's great. But to this point, he's been able to dictate every single exchange of every single fight, right? When it gets rough, he takes him down. If he doesn't want to take him down, he stands and he beats him up. He hasn't had to deal with any adversity. He's been that good. But Covington dealt him a lot of adversity. And he went through that and showed just how absolutely tough and durable he is. I thought Colby was an issue because of the cardio, the pace, the pressure. Usman matched that and exceeded it to finish Colby, who himself is just a phenomenal fighter. And I just think that all those questions that he answered in that fight with Covington tells me, man, it's going to be very difficult to get that belt off of him for a lot of people. He's good, man. And if that physical ability is matched by that mental toughness he showed in the Covington fight, I just don't know if there's a tougher fight for him in the division than Colby Covington right now, just in terms of matchup.